Hello and welcome back to my channel, and today we're taking a look at Modern Warfare 2.0, commonly known as Warzone just by itself. And yeah, well, the reason for this video is simple. I was looking at some benchmarks for this game with the 47 Ti, and surprisingly enough I was seeing people having 180, 200 frames, and I was like, what the hell? And they're supposedly playing in 4K ultra settings. And I played this game before. I played it starting from 1080 Ti, 2080, 3070 Ti, now we have 4070 Ti, and in 4K I have never ever seen anything above, I would say, 100-ish, everything maxed out. The moment you enable DXR for, well, Microsoft's API of ray tracing rather than actual RTX, we're down in low 60s. Now, here's the thing, and I think I finally figured it out. If we go into the graphics, let's run through the settings what we're going to be using here. We're going 4K native, no dynamic resolution, no vertical sync, frame rate is unlimited, everything else is as it is. If we go to the quality, we're going to be using quality presets, and we're going with the ultra one. Now, here's the thing, I noticed that in majority of the benchmarks, they don't actually even show quality screen, they kind of go from display to quality, and very quickly they go down here to details and textures. It's more like, you know, like a flick. And there's a reason for it, because by default when you install the game, when you play it, it is set up to use NVIDIA DLSS, which is this, well, DLA. But it's enabled by default. To disable DLSS upscaling, you need to actually select NVIDIA image scaling, and only when that's applied, you can actually start playing around, set up your filmics, and then you're getting native 4K, because this is when the render resolution is locked to 100 and it's a native 4K. If I went for DLSS, doesn't matter if it's quality or something, it's gonna drop down to 2K. Ultra performance is 720p. Okay, I already tested that one out. So here's the thing, this game finally has got, well, I mean, it's a full version. So once you go full version, you can get a benchmark. So we're gonna run a benchmark for native 4K ultra settings with no DLSS. We're gonna have a look at the first mission of the either actual game, or we might actually drop into the war zone so I get killed. But I just want to see what is the actual correct benchmark here. MSI afterburner running upper left. There will be a different performance stats down here, but let's see how much we're gonna be getting, because this is the actual performance in 4K native. Granted, in my case, I probably will be severely bottlenecked by the i5 and only 6 cores. But to be fair, those guys were running it with like, say, like 97K. Okay, also no hyperthreading, just two more cores essentially. Anyway, that's beyond the point. Let's start the benchmark and see how much frames we're gonna be getting on this. And honestly, when it comes to Warzone, and specifically Modern Warfare, I would say keep your DLSS on. Honestly, there's very little you're losing in terms of graphical fidelity, but you're gaining a lot of FPS. And if you're playing in 4K, you want all the FPS you can get. So yeah, I am a big fan of DLSS, as you know. If there's a feature, I want to use it and it works well, why not? So off the bat, we're at 60-ish frames. So I'm gonna shut up because this is gonna get loud, and I already know we're gonna be below 60. I can just see that happen, really. So as you saw, FPS is all over the place. Generally below 60, okay? So 53s, after the big explosion, even as low as 39. But here's the thing. I don't know if you noticed, but the CPU time and the GPU time were completely out of sync. CPU time was about 7 to 8 milliseconds and GPU time was as high as 15 milliseconds. So essentially what it means is that the GPU is waiting on the CPU to actually send some stuff. However, this problem is getting actually fixed with the DLSS. So if we actually just go here, we take DLSS, we can leave all of this as it is. I'm gonna put it on quality. As you can see, it supposedly will render it, I think, at 2K, roughly. And we're just gonna rerun this particular benchmark and you will see. So currently, native ultra 75 frames, as low as 37. Let's see what happens with DLSS on quality. And we're just gonna go from there, because I think this is gonna actually prove the point why DLSS will help in certain scenarios. Then again, 4K, I mean, let's be honest, like, what system do you need for it? So I think this is actually pretty... Point is made. Instead of having 75 frames, we actually... The lowest we dropped was 60, right? So a little bit alleviated from the GPU. The frame time for the GPU was also much less impactful. So instead of being 15 and 17 milliseconds, we were actually at 11, and the CPU was roughly 6 to 9. So in general, if you are running into any sort of bottlenecking issues, specifically when it's either CPU or GPU, you kind of want the frame time for the CPU and GPU to be roughly on the same level. So let's say CPU 5, GPU 5, or at least number 1 or 2 above is fine. The moment 1 or 2 components need to wait on another component to actually do the task, that's where you're gonna get some stutters and lags. Now, I'm not saying this game is not optimized. It's actually pretty optimized, to be fair, at least at this point in the day. But here's the thing. I know that a lot of people were asking, oh, but have you enabled resizable bar? Yes, it's enabled. Do I know how much performance I have gained, if at all? No, because to be fair, so far the frames are exactly as my previous couple runs I did without recording it. And I would say, you know, even though we are rendering the game in 2K essentially, I'm more than sure if you are actually playing this game in Full HD or 2K with a 4070 Ti, you're gonna be absolutely fine. Some people say limiting frames to 75 will actually create even better response times, and obviously NVIDIA Boost Plus to reduce system latency might help a bit as well. So what we're gonna do is quite simple. We're gonna take the graphics, go back, disable this. We're using native, so that's good. Let's apply the settings. I'm gonna lose a bunch of frames already, and we're gonna run through the first instance of the first mission. And the reason I'm telling you that is, I mean, who cares? End of the day, you know what? This is just raw performance. So let's just start a new game. It's gonna restart, and I know, but this is also important, you know. This is why I'm not cutting my clips. I could have made a very nice transition right as we speak. I just don't see the point, because every time I see someone doing a benchmark run and they stitch the clips together, they I'm so confused about the settings they use or they can change. And I know a lot of people have these sort of trust issues as well when it comes to it. Hence I made a stupid decision to basically not do it. Some of my videos are stitched if the loading screens are way too long or there's a shader preload or whatnot. But at this point in time I think we can just bypass all of that and we're gonna just see the actual performance of the game. Whenever it launches, to be fair. That's a different thing.
Gold Eagle actual, Shadow 1 is weapons hot. We're burning daylight here.
Copy, Graves. Stand by. Laswell, do we have confirmation?
Watcher 1 to Bravo 07. You in position?
Nearly there.
So what do we have? So this is native no DLSS and we're pulling 5.7 gigs of video memory and 9.7 on RAM. And I know a lot of people are telling me this, that campaign will not tax your system as much as multiplayer, and I totally agree with that. At the same time, some of these levels are actually pretty nice.
Now get up there and let's see what he's up to in the middle of nowhere.
But to be fair, every time I see this, it's just so nice. And again, like during the synthetic benchmark we were way below 60 at times. And here we're at high hundreds.
What do you see?
Armed personnel, armor and hardware, all Russian.
What the hell are the Russians doing with Gorbrani?
Supplying Iran. It's an arms deal.
You copying this, Shadow 1?
Affirmative. 2 birds, 1 stone.
We need positive ID on Gobrani before we kick this off, boys.
Ghost, can you identify the general?
Armed escorts around one VIP. Russians are very happy to see him.
It'll be the last time they do.
Visual on General Gobrani.
Copy. All stations, target confirmed.
Shadow 1, you are cleared hot for launch.
Roger that, actual. Ghost, you are danger close to the zone. This arrow's gonna pack a punch.
Copy approved. Send it.
All stations, Shadow 1. Missile is ready for immediate delivery. Stand by for launch. Coordinates in. Target designated. 2, 1. Shot out! Missile in blue. Target acquired. This will take some manual guidance to hold her. Missile bearing northeast at 065 degrees at Mach 3. Altitude 500 meters.
Right in the pocket. Stay with it.
Check. Coming in hot. Brace for impact. Time to target 5 seconds. Termination in 3, 2, 1.
Fucking hell. Direct. Target destroyed.
Come in. Laswell.
General Shepard.
Oh, I know that look. Are we at war?
You would be the first to know, sir.
Damn right I would. Talk to me.
We have a hit on Gobrani's second in command.
Hassan Zayani, Quds Force Major.
He's taken up the mantle for Iran.
Supplying terrorists.
Money, weapons, intel.
Well, he's ambitious.
He's dangerous, sir. He wants retaliation.
Razor 1.
So as you can see, this is the actual performance, and honestly, this is just between me and you guys. If you are playing this particular section with DLSS on, we would have about 100 frames, and you would not notice a single speck out of place when it comes to pixel and graphical fidelity. So when it comes to campaign, you know, probably whatever gives you 60 frames is good. If you're playing Warzone, if you're being competitive, and you are cursed with the 4K TV and you can't get below the resolution or whichever reason you might have, you want to get the most amount of frames you can possibly churn out. So this is entirely up to you guys. The next 2 minutes will just be me stumbling around, and I'm gonna tell you goodbyes right now. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you learned something. Stay away, be very wary before you buy a GPU and the benchmarks you are finding online on YouTube. Always check if they show all the settings they do, exactly the same way as me and some other really great YouTubers are doing. We're going through the list of settings, so there's no confusion, there's no quick flicks, there's no stitched up videos. If you want to put your money into a hardware, do your research, right? Don't allow someone else to do the research for you, and then you're wondering why I'm not getting the same frames if we have similar or the same rig. That's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the flip side. Over and out.
All Bravo deployed. Secondary HLT. All stations, Racer 1 is bracketed. We're getting lit. Incoming! Flares! Flares! Shit, that was close. Second missile! Racer 1 going down! We're going down!
Alpha, what's your status? Alpha, how copy?
Bravo! Alpha is immobile. Multiple critical. Shit! We're taking effective fire!
Alpha, we're moving to building 1. Hold tight.
Ghost, we need to secure that crash site now.
First we clear first sun. That takes the heat off Alpha. Then we secure the crash site. Clear?
Roger that.
Let's move.
Force up to the house.
Retrap. Sweep through!
First day clear. Negative on a sun.
Copy that. Second deck.
Roger.
Contact! Over here. Grenade out!
All Bravo, move on building 2.
Bravo! Crash site is taking RPGs from building 2. Second deck. Alpha, taking building 2 now. Hold fast. Prep for breach.
7-1, moving interior.
Building 2, let's go.
Second. Enemy rockets down.
Solid copy. Good work.
Ghost, building 2 secure.
Roger. Time to hit the crash site.
Got a video for San in here. You good, mate?
Yeah, plate stopped it. These are fuckers that hit Alpha.
Aye. Now we can secure the crash site.
All Bravo, circle up outside.
Ghost, Soap. AQ's working with some good gear.
Soap, we're moving to the crash site to help the wounded. Rest of you, hold here and cover us. Raj. Alpha 02, Bravo 07, building 2 secure. We're coming to you. Alpha copies all. Expect contact. AQ's waiting for us. Soap, stay with us.